We are here. It's another week. ASUN Gameday Podcast. We got men's and women's basketball in full swing. We got men's and women's tennis going on. Men's lacrosse started last weekend. We got women's lacrosse. Kendrell, we got a softball preseason showcase going on today for the season.
Yes.
Baseball next week. But you know what? No days off. No days off. Conference. We back at it another week. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. It's been a hectic week, man. It's been a lot going on. Just, being crossover season and all the sports starting. We have sports getting ready to go in championship season. So, it's a lot. I don't have to tell you, but yeah, it's a lot going on right now. So I'm happy to be able to do some sports.
Yeah. I feel like right now is a time where we earn our paychecks. I think it's a time we earn this money weekend because it's a grind. It's a grind. Yes. But who knows all about the grind is our men's and women's basketball teams. So just looking back on last weekend, women's basketball had a big game that we were kind of waiting to see. FGCU, they did win against Bellarmine, and then the big one, FGCU, EKU. FGCU still sitting pretty at 9-0 on the women's basketball side. I would say that's probably not much of a shock to anyone that they're 9-0 at this point, that they haven't lost. This is kind of what they do, but I think that was a game a lot of people had some eyes on. How did you, when you coming out of the game, what'd you feel coming out of it? Did you feel like EKU got pushed any, or are you still waiting to see somebody test them?
I'm still waiting for a test. I feel like with this FGCU team, right now, I feel like just some of the teams I've seen in the past, I feel like this team, first of all, is awesome. I feel like the game that Imani Jefferson had, 22 points, 8 rebounds, and Uju, 21 points, 7 rebounds. They were balling. Also, Sophia Person with 16 points. They came out and they set the tone really early, just going up 10 in the first quarter on EKU. Coming out of the game, because going into the season, rather, I had FGCU, Lipscomb, EKU. Those were my 3 teams to watch. FGCU, of course, being the top dog, and then having Lipscomb and EKU contending. And I wanted to see how they would play against one another. So I scheduled those 2 contests, or those contests, on the calendar. Coming out of the game, FGCU is FGCU. This is what they do. They won their 24th straight win at home. It's the nation's 3rd longest win streak at home. So, this is what they do. The only other game just going into the season, just seeing how Coach Kemper's team is doing over at UCA, that game I'm looking at. However, going into the season, the 2 teams I thought that would contend with them, they did what they were supposed to do, getting this 13-point win over, EKU.
Yeah. And I think you kind of laid it out. A little bit of a spoiler, but FGCU UCA is coming. And speaking of women's basketball, we can't not look at Central Arkansas, 5-game winning streak. Again, a team that's doing what they got to do. And a different shade of purple is also making some waves right now. North Alabama on a 4-game win streak on the women's side.
Yeah, okay, my fault. I started singing.
I thought you would go there. Yeah, North Alabama. I think you don't want to say I wouldn't say they're coming out of nowhere, but they're hitting at the right time, halfway through a conference play. They got wins. They got Kennesaw State, Queens. I think North Florida and Jacksonville. So they've gotten 4 wins in a row, win the games that are on the schedule. And now they find themselves 3rd in the standings right now, and in a good position to finish the rest of the regular season strong and potentially get a game in Florence starting off the postseason run. So North Alabama looking really good on the women's side. And to be fair, North Alabama is also looking pretty good on the men's side as well. They've got a 4-game winning streak. The men's North Alabama team, they're catching fire at the right time. I think that, again, this is a team that really played strong last year, had a strong push at the end of the regular season into the postseason last year, and they seem to be finding their footing right now. They again, Kennesaw State, Queens, the Stetson and FGCU. So in that stretch, they've got, I know you mentioned this earlier before we started the show, just talking about this team. They've got some quality wins. They've got good wins that North Alabama is putting together. So they're a team to watch out for. I think that they're getting it done and they're dangerous. Like this, I mean, Jakari Lane is a scorer. Like
Yes.
they got Daniel Forrest. They've got players. They got a strong head coach, and it's starting to look like a similar to last season where you can go top to bottom and not necessarily say this team is a lot better or this team is gonna run through. You just don't know. I mean, EKU is looking good right now. They had a great win on the road against Kennesaw State, but 2 days before that, they did go on the road and they dropped one to Queens, which was a great win for Queens. But it just goes to show you that people are coming, and any night somebody can pick up a win here in the ASUN. So on the men's side, anything that stood out to you?
Well, as you said, North Alabama on their 4-game win streak. I mean, quality wins. Like I remember when they beat KSU, we were like, oh man, they beat KSU, but then they followed that up with a Queens victory, which, Queens is a tough team. Like you can't put that in the win column. You have to go out and play ball to beat a Queens squad. Stetson and FGCU. So 4 wins, like they're on my radar. Like they're competing. As you mentioned, with Jakari Lane, Damian Forrest, KJ Johnson, like they come to play. So I'm excited about North Alabama entering the chat. And yeah, I mean, Queens, their 2-game win streak over EKU, like they knocked EKU down for the first conference loss of the year. Also defeating Bellarmine, who, Bellarmine had an awesome game versus Kennesaw State, winning in overtime off of Ben Johnson 3.
Right.
And then, just being able to knock off that team after like a big win that they had. So, and also Bellarmine, all their team being healthy. So yeah, they had a really good quality win there. And then of course on the men's side, always FGCU, and just coming out, having a dominant performance against Central Arkansas, and then just coming out and losing in the last minutes to North Alabama. So,
Which was a good game. It was a good game.
Awesome game.
But like you said, you just never know. I got a team I want to ask you about.
Okay, go ahead. I'm ready. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Kennesaw State. I mean, you look up now, and they are about 9th, 10th in the standings. I get it; it's early. And you say 9th. There are a bunch of teams that are 4 and 5, so it's not really like a ninth, or wherever they are right now. But you're looking at them; they're on a 4-game losing streak, so they're still trying to find their footing. I mean, this is a team that, rightfully so, 2 weeks ago, they looked a lot different. And we looked at that North Alabama game when North Alabama came in there, that you mentioned earlier, came in and got that win. Then they go on the road and they lose to Central Arkansas. And they come back home and they have that overtime battle and lose to Bellarmine. Then EKU comes in and gets and it's kind of like even with the Bellarmine game, I think it's clear to see it. And let's not, take the records out of it. You gotta count the records. You gotta look at a Bellarmine team and see the record or whatnot. But at the same time, like, these guys are coming to play every night. So like you said, you just can't chalk up a game and be like, this might be a dub. You got to go out there and play the game. But even I was at the EKU game and watched that team play, they still look like a team that could win a title. Now, probably crazy to say that when they're losing, but like even the Bellarmine game, like I would say they probably should not have been in that game how they were. Now that's credit to them that they were able to come back in that game and get to overtime. And even in overtime, I think Bellarmine jumped out what, 5, 6, 7 points or something. Oh yeah, and then next thing you look up, Simeon Cowell's doing what he does, and then they tied the game up in overtime again. So I just like what do you see when you look at Kennesaw State? Like, what do you think it is? Is it just it's clearly not talent because I think Terrell Burton is having a first team All ASUN year.
Having a
Simeon
preseason,
Cowell,
maybe
Simeon
not
Cowell, like
preseason, but yeah, player of the year type
yeah,
season, to be totally honest.
they've got the dogs, but just when you look at it, what do you think it is right now? And not taking anything away from the teams that have beat them, but still looking at Kennesaw State because I look at them and I don't see much difference. Like, and maybe there's something going on that I haven't like keyed in on. I mean, there's always could be injuries. I know things happen, but just kind of just looking, just observing.
Well, I think that when you talk about Kennesaw State, the first thing like that you mentioned just previously, like when you said they have the dogs, right now, I think that the biggest thing, the key takeaway for me when it comes to Kennesaw State is I would erase that S off of when you said dogs. Right now, they
Mm,
have the dog. Terrell
mm,
Burton's balling. Terrell Burton
mm,
comes in one game last week, he gives you 13 assists. The next game he comes around, drops 33 points. So it's almost like the Tyrese. What do you want? What do you want from me? Like I'm giving
mm.
you, I'm giving you, I'm giving you
Yeah.
gold. So,
Okay.
but I mean, with that being said, like you have Simeon Cottle. Simeon Cottle, he'll one game he'll have a game, and he is him, as
Yeah.
McKenzie would say.
Yeah.
Like he is him. That's McKenzie's favorite player. But Simeon Cottle will bring it. Damon Robertson, he'll come in and bring it. I just feel like that that cast, like we just need a little bit more consistency there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like once you get that consistency, um, like it'll be clockwork.
You're very perfect. Yeah.
And you need because that's the championship squad right there. That's that returning squad, that nucleus in that not I don't want to say in that starting role because Simeon Cottle wasn't a starter, but that's pretty much that nucleus of Terrell Burton, Cottle, Damian Robinson. Like we need one of those other options to step up and actually just be consistent because they do step up from game to game.
Yeah.
So I can't say that they're not stepping up. Like you just want to see some consistency where there's one person stepping up each game and providing that support. Because again, like I said, once they do that, it's off to the races.
Yeah. Speaking of off to the races, a team that is 8-1 right now in conference play. EKU. I had a chance to talk to head coach A.W. Hamilton, get his thoughts on last week, the big win against Kennesaw State, losing the first conference game against Queens, and just their upcoming game, including the game of the week against Stetson. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. ASUN Gameday Podcast, William Hall, here with head coach A.W. Hamilton, EKU Colonels. Coach, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. It was great to see you down in Atlanta.
Yeah, always good to see you. So, speaking of that game, congratulations on a big road win. What were you most proud of your team going into a place? It's tough to get a victory, winning there, came out with that dub. Just talk to me about the after. I mean, I saw the celebration, so I know you were pumped up after that one. But what were you most proud of?
Yeah, I was proud how we responded. We didn't play great at Queens, and give Queens credit. They played really well, and Grant does a heck of a job, but we just didn't play very well. And we really responded at Kennesaw. I think Kennesaw, Coach P's doing a great job. Terrell Burton what he's done there is amazing. And that kid has got heart. He's got a will to win. That's a tough place to play. We've been there twice and it's been great games. We just haven't been able to get over the hump there. So, we did some great things early. Michael Marino really set the tone early on in the game. The way he was shooting the ball. And then we got in foul trouble. And I thought our guys off the bench played extremely well. We attacked the offensive glass in the first half and kept balls alive. And, we took a nice lead to, 3-4 point lead to halftime. And then Tay Blanton was just a star in the second half, just an absolute star. And we were able to close the game off.
Yep. Yeah, it was good, strong win, strong, like they said, the second half. really kind of put it on. Going back to the Queens game, I know you all were undefeated coming in with conference play coming into that game. After a loss like that, kind of looking to the second half of the season, conference season, going to the postseason, what can the team, I guess, kind of learn from that loss, or what can that do to help get things back on track? I mean, you real quick bounced back really fast at Kennesaw State, but was that loss there? Does it do anything as far as a teachable moment in the season, or you just kind of forget about it and keep going?
No, I hate learning in losses, but sometimes you have to. But I thought Queens did a really good job. I thought they played physical. I thought they won the 50-50 balls. I thought they won the hustle game. And so it was a good video, good film to show our guys because, that's what we take great pride in, being a tough, scrappy, hard-nosed defensive team. And we just weren't that, and they were the aggressor in that game. So it was a good film for us, but I hate learning in a loss, but sometimes you've got to do that. And our guys really responded. And, Queens does a great job. They push the ball. They're top 5 in the country in tempo. So we playing Kennesaw on Saturday, we faced a lot of the same stuff, and we tried to slow down Burden, and we really didn't do a very good job. But because he played extremely well, but I thought we played a really good game. We shot free throws well, we rebounded the ball well, we out rebounded them. We won a lot of the 50-50 balls. We did the things that you got to do to win a basketball game. Like, we get a steal in the first half, and this is a play that just stands out to me. We get a steal in the first half. Colin Cooper shoots a transition 3. Tay Blanton flies in. Colin misses it. Tay flies in, gets the offensive rebound, and throws it right back to him. Mm-hmm. And Colin Cooper ain't going to miss 2 in a row. I watch that kid shoot every day, but that's winning basketball. That's how you win basketball games. And we did a lot of that on Saturday, and then that's why we got the result that we did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember that play, exact play. I remember that. So yeah, that was it. So looking ahead tomorrow, back at home, you got FGCU coming in. What do you like about the matchup against this year's FGCU team?
Well, I think they're as talented as anybody in the league. You look at, they beat FAU. They got a top 10 win. Mm-hmm. And they've had some great moments where they played extremely well. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us because, everybody's at this time of the year. You got, if you ain't pumped up to play, something's wrong with you. Yeah. It's, we're in February now. We're closing in on March, and in our league, it's so important. All these league games are so important because you want to protect home court advantage, especially as you get into the ASUN tournament. So they got a talented group. Thompson I think he's a superstar. Zach Anderson is a star. They're very well coached. So it'll be a great challenge for us, but we're excited about it. Our fans are excited. We've had great crowds again this year, and we're doing a whiteout, so everybody will be pumped up to wear for the whiteout. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, I'm expecting to be a good game, and it's our ESPNU game this year, so definitely a lot of eyes going to be on it. And then a quick transition. You're back out on the road. It's going to be our ASUN game of the week this week at Stetson. Talk to me about matching up with the Stetson team that's kind of starting to find his groove again. I think they had a couple of weeks there where they were kind of off, but they're back on pace, and they're looking like the team they were earlier in the season.
Yeah, now listen, I've known Donnie Jones a long time. He's one of the best coaches in our league, and he's one of the best coaches in the country, and he does a phenomenal job. The coaching in this league in general is just phenomenal. You can go top to bottom and look at everybody, and there's just great coaching in this league. But Stetson, listen, they're really good. Blackman, you take his stats and throw him out the window. Don't look at him. That kid is a star. He can play. He's a winner. Their point guard, he's tough as nails. He's an all-conference player. They got a really, really good basketball team, and they're starting to play extremely well. So that'll be a huge challenge. But, we got Florida Gulf Coast first. Listen, they are really talented and they're really good. So we got to play that game first.
Yeah. Yep. Well, looking forward to both of them, Coach. Congratulations again on a great start to the season. Hope to see you soon. I always love having you here on the ASUN Gameday Podcast. So we'll get going again. We'll get another one in for the year.
and you still owe me something, right?
I know.
All right. So
I have
listen,
forgot.
man, I'm not gonna say nothing about it. Like I told you in the lane, I'm not gonna remind you anymore.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna say it.
I know.
I'm
I
not
pass
gonna
the
say
message on every time. So now that we got it back out there again. This is in public.
Yeah, this is in public. You owe me something. So we'll hey,
I
I
got you.
can't wait to get it. I want, what they call them, the gifts or whatever. I want mine.
Emoji. I got you. The
Emoji. That's it.
The little face. I know what you want. I know what you did. I'm gonna get it to you.
All right. I'm holding you to it.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. And I got you.
All right, brother. Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. We are back on the ASUN Gameday Podcast. Always good to talk to Coach A.W. Hamilton of EKU. So switching gears a little bit, not switching gears, but I think this is the most important thing that we discuss every week. I think we talk about games.
The most controversial. It's the most controversial.
I didn't want to say it, but you said it. Not my words, but I'm fine with it. I'll live in it. I make my bed and I'll lay in it. Power rankings time.
Let's go.
It's basketball. Let's start there. We just got through talking to A.W. Hamilton. They did lose the Queens. Maybe there's a shakeup. Maybe there's not. You want to go first?
Yes, I'll go ahead and start with my top 6. But first, I want to give an honorable mention out to Austin Peay.
Ooh,
they knocked off North Florida. Yeah, they knocked off North Florida last week. So, I was going back and forth with them, but I had to start with number 6 and go Queens. Queens on that 2-game win streak, knocking off EKU, and then beating Bellarmine. I have them at 6. But I seen a woo from you. What are you thinking?
Well, because I've made my list. My list is done. My list is down here. So I'm not going to change my list.
Okay.
But I'll respect the Queens. I respect it, and I was sleeping a little bit because I probably would have. But I'm sticking with my list. I'm sticking with it. But my woo was, when you hear something, it's like, I missed that. Should. Hey, I'm not mad at Queens at 6.
Yeah, we have a couple teams streaking, so I had to honor the streak. So
honor the streak. And again, you look at the standings, they're one of those 4 and 5 teams that they look like they're in 10th, but technically they're tied for like 6th. So 6, there you go. You got a bunch of 6s in the standings right now, so you got to be 6. Go ahead.
And you know me in 6s.
I know you in 6s. Like that's the thing. So hey, it's fair game. Queens at 6. Where we going there?
I only have 1 6. So at number 5, I have Stetson. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but Stetson.
I don't feel great about it, but go ahead.
Okay, because me and Stetson, we're going through some things right now. Because I remember earlier in the pods when we first started, when we had to pick 2 teams, I said EKU and Stetson, and then Stetson. Right now they're 6-3 in conference play, so they're doing what they're supposed to do. Some of the losses, when I see some of the losses, I'm not feeling them. It's not necessarily that they're losing. It's just like the Kennesaw State loss, where they lost 88-70. Like that's an 18-point loss. Right? FGCU 80-56. Right? That's a 24-point loss. If my math is mathing.
You're mathing right now.
And then UNA, UNA was a 5-point loss. So that's kind of the stuff that I want to see when they're losing. I want to see competing. So that's why I have them at the 5, just right then, because I would have them higher. Otherwise, it's just in those losses I would want to see like a little bit more competitive losses. All right, number 4, Lipscomb. I have Lipscomb. Just because Lipscomb, even though right now I have them in conference play, they're 5-4. They have some losses they have some tough losses. Like they have the loss against EKU, they have the loss against UCA, then a loss against Stetson, who I have right below them, and that was a 21-point win for Stetson. But just right now, I still feeling a way about Lipscomb. I feel like Lipscomb has a couple more ways to score. And then, of course, the UNF loss. So that was a 9-point loss. But I have Lipscomb at the 4. Right now, it's all about right now we're streaking. I have UNA 3, 4-game win streak. Again, like I mentioned, with those wins that they have against KSU, Queens, Stetson, and FGCU, those are some quality wins there. Really have turned it around in conference play as of late on that 4-game win streak. So I have them at the 3. And then right now I still have North Florida at the 2. And I want to say that that loss that they had to Austin Peay. So it was, I was actually thinking of like maybe seeding them a little lower, but not right now. North Florida still at the 2. And of course, EKU, even in a loss right now, they're still, in my opinion, sitting comfortably at the 1. They just have so many ways to beat you. They have scoring at all levels with Isaiah Cozart down low, Devontae Blanton in the mid-range doing work from the high post. And then you have your 3-point shooters in Marino, who, when they lost to Queens, they didn't really get much 3-point shooting, and they turned that around really quick with Michael Marino hitting like 7 threes the next game, and then even having Colin Cooper. And then you have Tayshaun Comer, Leland Walker, that they just get buckets. Those are bucket getters.
They are.
So
they are.
They're still at my 1.
Okay. I got Austin Peay at 6. That's the difference. Austin Peay is actually my 6.
Okay.
My only 6. Austin Peay at 6. They are one of those teams that's, I think that's about where I think they're going to be. They're middle of the pack. I don't think they're not a bad team, but they haven't given me that win that just made me think, yeah, this is, but they're there. They're in the mix, and I think they could beat anybody. So they're dangerous. Lipscomb at 5, same sort of thing. Like, they're very similar teams to me in the sense of they're just jockeying around. 4, I got North Alabama, who's jumping up, streaking, as you said. We already mentioned the win streak. North Florida is at 3. I just don't know. I personally didn't think they were that great of a team early. They started winning, and I'm going to respect the wins, and that's where they are. There's time. I don't think, and 3 is not bad, and they're, outside of the power rankings, record-wise, they're tied with Stetson. So they're both at 6 and 3. So they easily could be a 2 seed if the season ended now, that type of thing or whatever. Stetson is 2. I have Stetson 2 in my power rankings. Again, recently, North Florida lost their last game. Stetson won. Looks a little bit better to me. Hey, coming out of this week, depending on how things shake out, EKU, who is my number 1 team in the power rankings right now, 8-1. You got 2 6 and 3 teams. North Florida and Stetson win twice. EKU loses to FGCU, and then Stetson to win twice will be beating EKU, and now we got a 3-way tie. The 3 teams at 8-3. So it's still that gap is not like, it's not to a point where I'm comfortable enough to say that right now I think EKU is the best team. I'm not comfortable enough to say that I think EKU has a 1 seed locked up or anything on the men's side. I think, I think there are better teams out there than Queens. Can they potentially do what, and again, I think EKU they had a bad night. Queens defense was all over them. They weren't getting good shots. Like, Queens played them like they were on them. And I think if now that it's out there, you've got the film on it. If you can replicate that, could be a blueprint to take out EKU and close that gap. But that's my power rankings on the men's side as of today. So
yeah, in that game, I don't think that I don't know. I don't think that all of the teams would be able to do that, because even in that, like, you had some people who had off nights. In Devontae Blanton, he had an off night. However, Leland Walker was balling in that first half. He had 20 points in the first half, ended with 22, but in that first half, he pretty much looked unstoppable. He was getting whatever he wanted. So, and then you had AJ McKee, Dayton Albury. They were balling, like, just as a tandem, like, doesn't get much better. So just from what they were doing, like I don't know how often you can turn in performances like that, just back to back to back. So
I
I
think
feel like
it's.
EKU won.
I think they won. They all won. I just again, my thing is if they have that type of night again, and that's EKU was off and had an off night, but there's also some credit in there. You gotta give a little nod to the Queen's D that was able to. So I'm saying like if you whatever it was, and can it be does it happen again? If it doesn't, I think they're fine. They go back to business as usual. But if they have a night like that again, things could be different. But we'll see. We'll see that the games still have to be played. Still have to be played. Go ahead and let me get your women's power rankings.
Okay, women. Okay, women. All right. Number 6, Kennesaw State.
I was nervous about that one. I wasn't sure if they were going to make it. But we accurate. We went step to step on women's not too long ago. So we starting off good. Like the men's, you came in with Queens, and I was like, but okay. I like it when we're in tune. So okay.
Yeah, I just right now I really like Kennesaw State. They're just a scrappy squad. Like when I look at the box scores and when I watch the games, like this win against Lipscomb, you tell me they don't have Princess Harden, I'm like that's gonna be a long evening for them. They come out and win. Not only do they win, they never trail in that game. Never trail. They're up by 13 points in the third quarter. Lipscomb Lipscomb was another team. I had them ranked number 2 when we first started. Lipscomb, I'm not sure what was happening, but Lipscomb comes into that game down 13. They in the fourth quarter, they come back, they score, I believe it was like 23, 24 points. However, it was too late. So I'm not sure where that was in the first 3 quarters. I'm not sure if they hit a switch or they found something that was working, but wish they would have found it quicker. But Kennesaw State, they just come out and beat you. Like, they're usually their field goal percentage, they're going to shoot in the high 30s. So it's not crazy. They don't really shoot free throws like that. But as coach would say, heart, hustle, and defense. That was a quote she said in one of the post games. So, and they really exemplify that because they come out, they get scrappy, they're getting turnovers, they're playing their hearts out. So they come in there. Lipscomb goes on an 8-0 run, but they still close it out. Going up to number 5. Number 5, I have EKU. And number 5 is it looks like we went on a divergent path, or either.
We still locked in. We still
Okay,
locked in.
I was like EKU 2-game losing streak, but that's off of a 5-game winning streak previously. So they still have it. We have to figure out how we're going to right the ship there, get off of that 2-game skid, and just show a little bit more consistency because I see they go on a win streak, they go on a losing streak. They started on a losing streak, I believe, so they have that 5-game win streak sandwiched right in between. Again, shout out to Elite J Recanati breaking a 32-year-old EKU assist record. Like I told you, she drops dimes. Like she's exciting to watch. Like she knows that she's almost like a Tyrese Halliburton out there. So really like watching her play. Other than that, at the 4, and this is where we're probably going to shake things up a little bit because I just went on my own. At number 4, I have Stetson.
We still good.
Okay, we still good. Okay, because I wanted to put Stetson higher because Stetson.
We good now. Like that was because I the top 3 got to be locked in. So I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay.
We locked in.
All right, I had Stetson at the 4 just mainly because they probably would have been higher. However, like that loss to Bellarmine, I was like, okay, the loss to Bellarmine, nah. Like even though Bellarmine's a really good squad, and I believe they're a lot better than their currently conference record. Like I do believe that because they come out and they play everyone tough. And I'm trying to figure out who did they come out. They came out and beat somebody. Let me see here.
We
Well,
talking.
I don't see it, but they beat and I was trying to figure out who Stetson it beat, and I was like, okay, that was a good win, but I don't see it here. But right now, I have Stetson at the 4.
They beat EKU.
There we go. That's what I wanted to say. That was that was the win where I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I wanted to put them higher, but then turning around and losing to Bellarmine, I was like, okay, all right. It kind of brought me back, and I was like, all right, Stetson 4. 3, North Alabama. Respect the street. Respect the street.
Respect the street.
4-game win streak. They're at my number 3. 2, I have Central Arkansas. They've been taking care of business. FGCU, no doubt, taking care of business. Shout out to Carl Semesco and his coaching staff for getting their 600th win there. Actually took it up to 601 with the win over EKU. And just shout out to Carl Semesco, man. Carl Semesco is a beast. Like, I had to go back and just read that coaching printout that, the SIDs put out, and just went through his career, man. Look, starting his career in Canton, like, that's Hall of Fame territory. It's not the basketball Hall of Fame, but him just being in the Ohio Hall of Fame. His first year as a coach, taking his team to the NAIA championship, winning NAIA Coach of the Year. First year. That's just crazy. First year as a coach. And then, you know how we talk about Golden State, and we talk about Golden State, Steph Curry just changing things, like the way people shoot threes. Like, he was doing that back then. Just what he was doing over at IPFW, 9.3 threes a game, which was most in the history at that particular time, or led the nation at that particular time. Is actually the 7th best in D2 history. But what they were doing there, just crazy. And then just 12-time regular season champion here, 9-time tournament champion here. Just don't want to say hats off. That's a Stetson thing, but they're raining threes down there. They're definitely doing their thing. So shout out to that coaching staff on 600 wins. I just wanted to give them their flowers because, they're always coming in. They're undefeated here. They may drop a game once every couple of years. And we're always like, let's talk about, these other matches. But, I just wanted to give them flowers down there in Fort Myers. So that's the one.
That's the one. Well, we're locked in. 1 FGCU, 2 Central Arkansas, 3 North Alabama, 4 Stetson, 5 EKU, 6 Kennesaw State. My same power rankings. But speaking of Kennesaw State, got a chance to talk to Coach Octavia Blue, True Blue era.
True Blue.
State basketball. Oh yeah. It's alive and well. So let's go to this conversation I had with Coach Blue, and we'll be right back with this week's matchups to watch. William Hall, ASUN Gameday Podcast. I'm here with Coach Octavia Blue, Kennesaw State women's basketball. Coach, how's it going?
Everything's going well. Just trying to hit a stride here as we close out the regular season and position ourselves to be in great position for postseason in the ASUN tournament.
Yep. Always good to see it. Good to see it. Congratulations on the record-breaking start to conference play.
Thank you.
The True Blue era is alive as well. Talk about the toughness your team showed just last Saturday with that win against Lipscomb. I know Lipscomb was coming in that fourth quarter, and you all just kind of buckled down, held on for the win. So just talk about just the toughness that the team showed that day.
No, they've shown this toughness throughout the course of the season. We played a bear of a non-conference schedule, which kind of prepares you for games like Lipscomb. Obviously, they were a great team, shoot the ball really, really well. We know defense had to be a key for us. We had to make sure we defended the three-point line, multiple shooters all over the floor, so you know how that can spread you out. But we had a little adversity as well. We were without our leading scorer and rebounder. We understood that. The team was aware of it, and I had many players step up in that moment, particularly what you're talking about in that fourth quarter. I mean, we knew at some point, shooters going to keep shooting. And at some point, some of those shots are going to fall. So, great comeback by Lipscomb to, always make me sweat it out for a quarter, but really proud of how hard our team played in the money time to get the stops that we actually needed to go ahead and get the W.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of playing hard this season, you're one of the top rebounding teams in the conference, number one in offensive board. So how much of a focus is that for you week to week?
It's a huge focus. I know that we have the ability with the players that we have on the team this season, really great rebounders. And honestly, if we want to get ourselves extra possessions, we got to go crash the glass. So I have a few players that have a really great knack for the ball, particularly Morgan Dillard, late game, 2 offensive rebounds that were huge for us when Lipscomb only needed 1 stop to get the ball back towards the end. So us putting a premium on that. We practice rebounding drills almost every other practice, but it's something we focus on.
Yep. So Princess Harden, top 10 in the ASUN, both scoring and rebounding. I think she's actually second with rebounding, 7.8 per game. How much of a benefit is it for you when you're able to have a versatile player like that on the floor? And then obviously in those moments when you don't have her, having the team be able to step up in those moments or just fill in gaps wherever you may have them.
Sure. I mean, since a freshman, we saw the talent that Princess Harden had. She just didn't have to have a bigger role than that she does have for us this season. She would always come in the game since our freshman year and make something happen, whether it was, getting a deflection at the top of our press or coming up with a big time offensive rebound, put back. But her game is really flourished. She's in the gym a ton. She understands what she means to our program now. But the biggest thing for me with her is just she's been consistent. I mean, night in and night out, she's just really been showing up, and we would see spurts of it, but never in the way that we're seeing her now. So I think the proof is in the pudding. If you put the time in the gym and the effort, if you're studying film on how you can score and pick spots, you'll see the success happen for you. Now, when we had a little adversity, she had to sit out. I think different players felt, I can fill the gap. And it didn't have to be one person. It could have been by a committee. Spoke of Morgan Dillard, her big game, having 15.7 rebounds. That was huge for us. And then Trinice Taylor, our freshman, who's just growing up right in front of our eyes, she came in the game and had a double-double as well. So when you have players just step up when we need it, that makes for a good team. And of course, you want to be playing this well towards the, as we get into March and in February.
Yep. So headed out for that Kentucky road trip, Bellarmine and EKU coming up before you come back home against FGCU.
Yeah.
What does Kennesaw State need to do to get that winning streak back going and going back out on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I asked my team, William, I'm like, who are we? We started the first 4 games 4-0, and then we went 0-4, and now we're back trying to reinvent ourselves. And almost is like, who are we? Who are we hanging our hat on as? And we know the competitiveness has been there, but it has been inconsistent sometimes. I think we came into some games not understanding the moment and looking at ourselves. And I think when you're trying to build a winning culture, you have to understand how you have to remain winning. You have to do what you did repeatedly, game after game after game, and there's no days off. So I thought during that 4-game skid, we had to go take a look at ourselves, a hard look at ourselves in the mirror, and understood how did we feel? What were some of the best practices we were doing to have that 4-0 start to conference? So us having, getting that W under our belt last Saturday, obviously with Carly Hooks in foul trouble, another top player of ours, and Princess Harden not being available and getting it done with 2 freshmen on the floor, it kind of shows us who we are. I think the one thing we must focus on is our defense. That's the thing. We pride ourselves on stopping people. We want to make the game, muck it up a little bit, make it difficult for teams to be comfortable. And then once we do that, we fuel off our defensive stops and our efforts in our presses.
Well, it's been exciting to watch the Kennesaw State, the team this year. Excited to see what else is going to happen for the rest of the season and hopefully into the postseason. So we're going to be locked in. Thank you for joining. And Coach, we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thank you, William. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
We are back. It's time for the matchups to watch. And after hearing that conversation with Coach Blue, I got to say one matchup I'm ready to watch is Kennesaw State at EKU. We mentioned that EKU is on a 2-game losing streak, so they're trying to get their footing back after their 5-game winning streak. KSU, well documented, the best conference start in program history. They've been on a slide, but they got off of the slide they were on against Lipscomb at home. So I'm kind of wanting to see is Kennesaw State going to be able to get their streak back going. After talking to coach, I mentioned that, and then it's obviously a tough test going into Richmond to battle EKU. So I kind of want to see what that ends up being on the women's side, and obviously, I guess the big game, the marquee matchup on women's basketball this week is UCA at FGCU in the game of the week. These two teams have been the best two teams. It's like, those two teams, they hadn't crossed paths, but they about to meet. They walking down the same hallway. It is about to see who, what we're going to do. We got 9-0 FGCU, 8-1 Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas gets a win, which would be considered an upset. No disrespect, but getting that upset for the Sugar Bears puts them now you're in play for that 1 seed going into the postseason.
I mean, I'm excited just for that game. Just the reason being is because once we seen it and we're like, okay, UCA is legit, and the way that they play is similar in style. Like UCA likes to shoot them. So you have Central Arkansas shooting the threes. You have Kenley Fisher. You have I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but you have about three-point shooters there. Leah Mafua, and then there's Jade. I forget her last name, but those three, they can shoot them. And given that the fact that FGCU's moniker is raining threes, that's what they do. UCA has a storm brewing as well. They can drop some threes as well. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the battle down low. Uju, Kiera Prim. I'm excited for that matchup as well. So I think that this is going to be a really good matchup and a really good test, a really good barometer test for Coach Kemper to see where that staff is or where his team is in his first year there. So I'm excited for this particular game. Like I always tell you, I'm going to be on the couch. This is my game of the week, front row seat. I'm definitely going to be watching this game from opening tip. So I'm really excited about this game.
Oh, yeah. And then on the men's side, some matchups to watch. North Alabama taking that winning streak. I want to see what happens with that. They're going on the road at North Florida. North Florida has not lost at home in conference play, so it's an interesting game. North Florida, again, team at the top of the standings. What do they want to do? North Alabama is coming towards the top of the standings. Interesting game. And the game of the week on the men's side, EKU at Stetson. Obviously, we know where EKU is done, 8-1. Stetson, one of those 6-3 teams we talked about. A couple wins, a couple losses from EKU. We got a tie at the top. Stetson has been hard to beat at home in conference play. These teams are moving around. Stetson's on the road against Bellarmine. Then comes back home to host EKU. EKU's at home against FGCU tonight on ESPNU, and they go on the road to DeLand. So they're bouncing around. That's an interesting game. I want to see what EKU can do on the road. They lost one on the road last week, won one on the road. You got to be able to win those road games. Stetson coming back home can pick up some wins and kind of close that gap. So those are two on the men's side that I think will be good games to watch.
I'm excited. Anytime North Alabama and North Florida link up, I'm always excited about that particular game. It's almost like a battle of the North to me. I feel like it's almost like this Game of Thrones, just Bolton's versus not the Snows, but I forgot it, man. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I feel bad because I've read every book. I've watched all of the seasons. I can't even think about it because it's left my head for a split second. But it's like that battle for the North in North Alabama and North Florida. So I'm excited about that. It's almost like, this is the King of the North match. Who's going to be King of the North? Is it North Florida, North Alabama? What's going on there? So excited about that. I'm excited about this ESPNU match. It's going to be coming on later. So I can definitely watch this game. So I'm going to be there for that particular game. Excited for that game because I believe that, FGCU, I believe this is a game that, when the lights shine brightest, FGCU usually shines their brightest. So I'm excited to watch this game and to see how they match up against EKU.
A lot of things going on across the ASUN Conference. Obviously, ESPNU tonight, EKU, FGCU men's basketball. A lot of other great men's basketball games. Women's basketball as well. We got opening day of softball coming tomorrow. Opening day of baseball coming next Friday. We're all over the place, like we said. No days off. ASUN Gameday Podcast. Check us out wherever you get your podcast. And we'll see you again next week. I'm William Hall Kendrell Watkins, signing off.
Peace.